Good afternoon. I'm Alex Blake, representing the practice Therefore, and this is our Richmond house. It's a substantial renovation of a heritage property and a family home of 4. It is located on Wurundjeri country in the area otherwise known as the suburb of Richmond. With the site plan, you notice the streetscape is defined by variability of subdivision, dwelling types and architecture. The key point here is the zero setback siding and consequently the physical presence of the existing heritage building on the site.
Sorry to interrupt. We're still on the front page we've still got text in front of us. Did you want to? Is that correct, or are we supposed to be looking at?
I think this can happen with Zoom sometimes when you go to full screen in Adobe. So I'll just do it without going to full screen. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that's fine. And I'll restart the clock if you like.
Oh, thank you.
No worries.
Okay, so I'm Alex Lake, representing the practice Therefore. I'll skip as much as I can to where I was. So I'm Alex Lake, representing the practice Therefore, and this is our Richmond house. It's a substantial renovation of a heritage property and a family home of 4. It is located on Wurundjeri country in the area otherwise known as the suburb of Richmond. The site plan, you'll notice the streetscape is defined by variability of subdivision, dwelling types and architecture. The key point here is the zero setback and siting, zero setback siting and consequently the physical presence of the existing heritage building on the site. That presence further highlighted on the MMBW map of 1895. The site is known to being built as Mills Dowling tinsmiths in 1888 and converted to residential use around the turn of the next century. Here is the existing condition showing the 3-bay symmetrical facade where the order is broken by the exception of the larger and later Edwardian style shopfront window to the right-hand side. From the rear yard, looking back at the original primary structure and subsequent renovations, looking east towards the rear of the block and the existing and prominent backyard. The existing ground floor plan, you'll notice the formal symmetry of the existing building and plan in contrast to the more casual or ad hoc nature of the secondary structures. Again, the symmetrical composition of the existing first floor. And a demolition photo highlighting the scale and condition of the existing rear facade remaining. The proposed plans showing the new occupation of the existing symmetrical form with the staircase removed, leaving a small entry hall in its place and 2 rooms either side, now both used as studies in the post-COVID world. A new stair is placed against the old building and the central circulation path proceeds through to the kitchen, dining and ultimately the living room. A garage, laundry and powder room block out the rear of the site. The remaining space is conceived as purposeful subtractions from the built form, leaving 3 courtyards, each responding to context and program. The first floor, we placed the children's rooms and bathroom in the existing, with the main bedroom, ensuite, robe and rooftop terrace all orientating themselves around the voids and the courtyards below. I'd like to explain the remainder of the project through the lens of 3 key drivers, or perhaps 3 key relationships within the architecture. The first is the relationship to heritage. The second is the relationship to type or typology. And the third is the relationship to landscape. To heritage, seen here with the veranda and some of the original detail missing, and in its contemporary form with the addition of the creeping fig and current restorations. It's perhaps the street presence and the generosity of the landscape gesture which elevate the significance of the building. The new structure acknowledges the existing through considered proportions and the predominant use of masonry, both express an interplay between monolithic nature of 2-story brick walls and the fine-grained tactility of brickwork. Paired with in-situ concrete slabs, the new additions express a degree of craft in dialogue with the original. That's our bricklayer David's and laying a test wall to work through the process and the final result on the right. And some other construction shots showing the relationship of these concrete slabs to the existing building and some of the detailing and structure around connecting the 2. Internally, where period detailing was already missing or damaged, skirting and fireplaces were reinstated in a non-figurative but referential way. Okay, and the second idea or relationship, type or typology. This photograph by Robin Walker is made known to us through the essay by Irish architect Andrew Clancy entitled The Casual Buttress. It depicts an Irish vernacular building which is associated with the cottage typology Andrew states that the buttress is casual in the sense that it is not concerned with a formality of composition. So you'll notice, oh, pardon me, you'll notice that the buttress is asymmetrical to the gable and possibly in addition. It is these qualities which define its casual relationship to the whole or to the type of the vernacular cottage. It's important to note that these qualities do not break the relationship to type, but in many ways enrich our reading. Using type as a starting point, this project is fundamentally a courtyard house. The planning issues the traditional backyard and fencing in favour of a primary north-facing courtyard and 2 subsidiary courtyards to the south. The courtyards and the resultant built form, however, are not concerned with the formality of composition, but rather respond to matters of the brief, site and town planning regulation. They provide the occupants with garden aspect and abundant daylight, as well as providing the neighbours with setbacks and reduction in bulk wherever required. It is this flexibility of form which delivers so much of the amenity of the project. You can see the 3 courtyards highlighted on that plan. Vistas from the lounge room through to one of the courtyards and its relationship to the kitchen. That same courtyard and its relationship at the first floor, where a client specific request was for a bath that had a garden outlook despite the landlocked ensuite. And perhaps the 4th courtyard is this first floor terrace, which is adjacent to the main bedroom, and also, as you see on the plan here, has the sort of only real aspect of western facade on the building, allowing it to catch the final part of afternoon light during the day. Returning to the main courtyard, I'd like to turn your attention to the building's tectonics, materiality and detailing, all of which exist in support of this approach to form and spatial expression. The clarity and purity of expression allow for the flexibility of form and responsiveness to site conditions. If tectonics can be understood as a kind of rhetoric or a conscious communication, then the intentions of the detailing is to speak to the key drivers of heritage, type, and landscape, rather than to introduce any additional logic. The third and final relationship is to landscape. This historical photo pictured showing 2 sisters who occupied the house and are known to have planted the striking facade creepers. The current condition again. So using the facade planting as a precedence, the landscape planting plan developed by landscape architects Acre, which really highlights the small area of the site given over to planting and the intention to utilise the architecture as a climbing frame for planting. So important to the understanding of the building, we recently returned to re-photograph the current situation. These are some photographs taken only a couple of weeks ago of the way in which the landscape has interacted with the architecture and begun to complete the work.
1 minute remaining.
Looking here, both inwards and outwards from the stair void, obviously expressing the climbing frames and the way in which the planting has taken over those. And the occupants' sort of day-to-day experience looking out to this north-facing courtyard. Some final views from the interior to the out. Thank you.